This video is about OET Listening Part B. So, Part B is a way that actually helps you perform better in the real test. This is one section that many students underestimate. They look at it and think, oh, it's short, only one question per audio, only three options, this should be easy. No, that is exactly where many candidates lose marks because OET listening part B is not difficult because of the length. It is difficult because of precision. The audio is short, yes, but the meaning is concentrated. The language is natural. The speakers do not say everything in a direct textbook way, and the options are designed to sound close enough to confuse you. So, this is not a section where you can survive by just catching one or two words. This is a section where you need to understand what the speaker is really doing. Are they advising? Are they warning? Are they correcting? Are they reassuring? Are they explaining the next step? Are they refusing politely? Are they clarifying misunderstandings? So that is the real game in part B. Got it? So, what exactly is OET listening part B? So, here you will get six workplace extracts. These are usually conversation or short talks that happen in healthcare settings. So, you may hear a doctor speaking to a nurse speaking to a patient, a pharmacist speaking to a customer, a receptionist giving information, or a manager or senior clinician giving instructions or a short workplace explanation. Simple. So, such extract is brief, but the challenge is that the meaning is packed into very small space. After each extract, you get one multiple choice question with three options. Now, on paper, that sounds manageable, but here is what makes it tricky. The wrong options are not silly. They are not obviously wrong. Usually, each option contains something that was either mentioned, implied, or emotionally connected to the conversation. That means if you are listening for familiar words, you can easily choose the wrong answer. In the other words, OET Part B does not reward shallow listening. It rewards targeted listening. So you have to ask yourself, what is the speaker's main purpose right there? Okay, so what is the key message the listener is supposed to take away? What is the practical intention behind these words? And that is exactly why this section feels deceptively simple. Okay, now let's see the skills that part B actually test. What is OET really testing here is many students say it tests listening. Yes, of course, but that's too general. Part B tests whether you can understand spoken English in a professional healthcare context where communication is often brief, practical, and purpose driven. More specifically, Part B test purpose. Why is the speaker saying this? Are they informing, reminding, correcting, requesting, or advising? And then it tests the attitude. Is the speaker concerned, reassuring, firm, diplomatic, or uncertain? And then main point. So, what is one thing the listener should understand by the end? The key takeaway. And the functional meaning, which means what is the speaker trying to achieve through the utterance? And finally, shift in meaning. That's pretty important. Did the speaker begin in one direction and then shift to the real point later? So, this is very important because often the beginning of the extract sets the scene, but the real answer comes in the shift. For example, someone may begin by acknowledging a problem, but the actual purpose is to give a solution. Or they may start with a complaint, but the key point is a safety reminder. Or they may mention several details, but only one of them is the actual message behind the question. So, if you listen in a flat way from beginning to end without noticing the turning point, you miss the correct answer. Got it? Now, let me give you the micro intention detection strategy. So, this is the heart of today's lesson. This strategy is perfect for OET listening part B. Do you know the reason why? Because each short extract usually contains one dominant communicative intention, not 10, not a whole essay. One main micro intent, one main micro intention. So the speaker is usually trying to do one of the following: Either they suggest something or advise something, or they try to correct something, or they warn about something, they reassure someone, or explain a process, confirm a plan, reject an idea politely, request cooperation, or sometimes they may emphasize priority. So instead of asking yourself, can I understand every sentence? Try to ask yourself, what is the speaker trying to do? That one shift in mindset changes everything, because once you identify the micro intention, the correct option becomes much easier to spot. Okay, let me make that practical. So if a nurse says, yes, I understand why you are concerned, but since the dressing is dry and intact, we will keep monitoring it rather than changing it again today. So here, what is the micro intention? Is it to show sympathy? Partly yes. Is it to describe a dressing? Partly yes. But the real intention is to explain why no action will be taken immediately, right? So that is the answer zone. So in part B, don't get trapped by surface words. Look for the speaker's core intention. Now, I'll tell you how to listen smartly in part B. When the audio starts, don't panic. Don't try to memorize everything. Mentally, you have to divide the extract into three parts. So, beginning, this usually gives context. Who is speaking? What is the issue? Why are we here? Then, middle. This often contains details, clarification, concerns, or explanations. And then, end. Very often, the ending contains the final intention decision or the key takeaway. So, this is why many students get trapped. They hear something important in the first half and choose an option too early in their mind, but then the second half changes the entire meaning. So, never mentally lock your answers too soon. And in part B, the ending is often where the speaker becomes more specific. That is why I always say the answer often lives where the tone or the direction changes. So you have to listen for words and phrases like but, however, actually, for now, instead, the main thing is what I would like to do. The priority is in that case rather than. So these are signal phrases. They often introduce the speaker's true intention. Okay? And let me tell you some of the common traps in part B. So the trap one here is keyword matching. You hear a word in the audio and the same word in an option, so you choose it. That's very dangerous. OET knows students do this, so they often place familiar words in wrong options. And trap two, half true options. Yes, an option may reflect one small part of the extract, but not the main point. That makes it tempting but wrong. And trap three, emotional distraction. So sometimes the speaker sounds concerned or polite, and the students choose an option based on the tone rather than the communicative purpose. And trap four, first sentence trap. So, as I told, the beginning sounds important, but the extract later redirects the meaning. And the fifth trap is overgeneralizing. Students choose a broad option when the real answer is narrower and more precise. So, now let's move on to an example. So here is the example. You can just pause the video and try to go through by yourself. And this is the question, what is the nurse mainly doing? Okay. You have options here, reassuring the patient that his condition is not serious, explaining why his discharge has been delayed, warning him about the risk of infection after surgery. Now let me reveal the right answer for this, explaining why his discharge has been delayed. Okay, at first option A, that may sound tempting because the nurse says it's nothing alarming at this stage, which is definitely reassuring language. And if you see the option C, may also sound tempting because there is mention of temperature, instructions to report feeling feverish. But what is the main communicative purpose that you have to look for? Isn't it? The nurse begins with, I know you were hoping to go home this afternoon, but. So that but matters here. Got it? It signals the real point. Then the nurse explains, The surgeon wants overnight observation. The temperature was slightly raised. They want to monitor him, and discharge may still happen tomorrow. So the whole extract is really centered on one thing: why he is not being discharged today. Got it? The reassurance is supporting language, not the main purpose. And the mention of fever is precautionary advice, not the central message. You got the difference, right? So this is how you need to break down and come up with the right option. So that's all for today's video. Kindly like, share, and subscribe for more OET tips. See you in the next video. Bye bye.